Hi, my name's Amy, and this is my November book haul. Okay, so if you've been following my vlog, you have noticed that this past month I went to the YALSA Young Adult Literature Symposium in Austin, Texas. And so while I was there, I not only went to one of the independent bookstores there and bought several books, I was also given free books through the conference, and so I have quite the pile. So it's 23 books in total, so let's get started. First I'm going to start with the books that I bought. I went to a local independent bookstore in Austin called Book People and bought 5 books. So here they are. First one is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. So I've been following Lindsay Ray's blog on YouTube and really enjoying her reviews and book talks about different adult fantasy novels. It's a genre I haven't really gotten into. I read a lot of young adult fantasy, but not so much the adult fantasy. So I was really inspired to pick up some titles thanks to her recommendations. And the first one is this one. It's the first book in the Mistborn series. I think maybe it has an alternate title. I'm not sure. But I don't know much about the book. I just know that it's kind of one of those really hyped fantasy books, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm not gonna lie, the cover is pretty sweet. The second one I bought was also on recommendation from Lindsay Ray's channel, and that is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is just another one of those fantasy titles that I've seen going around lately, and I especially liked Lindsay's recommendation of it and the rest of the series. So I'm looking forward to reading it, even though it's pretty dense. Again, this is pretty awful of me, but I don't know much about it other than fantasy, and it was recommended, and the cover's cool. So I'll let you know my thoughts on it once I actually get around to reading it. And the third one was yet again another recommendation from Lindsay Ray's channel, and that is Written in Red by Anne Bishop. I guess it's an urban fantasy series. I don't know much about the book, but it's an urban fantasy, and the cover just looks really cool, and so I'm interested to see a new take on kind of the otherworldly creatures, you know, werewolves and that sort of thing, though I don't know much about the specific characters and creatures in this one, so we'll have to see what happens. The next book I bought was Stitching Snow by R.C. Lewis. I got this one because it's a Snow White retelling, and I'm a big fan of fairy tale retellings. I guess this has a sci-fi twist on Snow White, and I really, really loved the Lunar Chronicles, which are sci-fi retellings of fairy tales as well. So I'll be interested to see how a different author takes a fairy tale into a sci-fi setting. So, plus, how pretty is that? It's so pretty. And the last one that I bought while I was in Texas was Finnegan of the Rock by Melina Marchetta. I think I pronounced that right. If I didn't, I apologize. This was recommended to me by a friend from school, and I've seen it several times over on Goodreads and on BookTube, and I haven't read anything by the author yet, but I've heard she's pretty amazing, so I'm looking forward to delving into some of her writing and checking it out. So the rest of my books are all books that I received for free from the conference that I went to. All of them are signed by the authors, so that was really exciting. Alright, so the first book is Feral Nights by Cynthia Leach Smith. Again, hope I pronounced that right. And so it's a fantasy series, and it's got different supernatural creatures, not your basic werewolf, vampire kind of things. So there's, I guess, were-cats and other such things. So there's definitely an interesting mix of things. And I guess the main character is Yoshi, who is looking for her sister and gets involved in a murder investigation. So I'm really interested to see how this turns out. The next book is Panic by Lauren Oliver. I have read only one book by Lauren Oliver. I read Delirium towards the beginning of November, and it was okay. I mean, it wasn't my favorite, but I'll be interested to see what some of Oliver's new work is like, and I guess this is one of her newest books. That's the one she was promoting at the conference. And so I don't know much about it. I think it's kind of a dystopian setting, and there are like kind of these gladiator type games maybe, I don't know, but it's all like about facing fears and that sort of thing, or panic as the case may be, and that's that. So I'll be interested to see if I like this any better than Delirium. The next one I got is an advanced reader's copy, and that is The Mark of the Thief by Jennifer A. Nielsen. She's the author of the Ascendance trilogy. I've read the first book, and again, I wasn't too impressed. I mean, it was an interesting premise, but I found the main character a little boring. I don't know, but we'll see. The fantasy series kind of based on the life of Julius Caesar, and I'm really interested in kind of Greek and Roman history and mythology, so it'll be an interesting story, I think. So because this is an advanced reader copy, I don't think the actual book is coming out until February, so keep an eye out for it if it's something you're interested in. The next book I got is Inheritance by Melinda Lowe. It's a sci-fi series, and I think involves aliens and DNA and that kind of thing. But this is actually the second book in the series, and I don't own the first one. I'm really excited to read it, but I'll have to go out and purchase the first book before I can get really started on it. But in the meantime, it looks really nice on my shelf, and I'll be looking forward to getting them both to read. The next books I got were Solstice and Tut, The Story of My Immortal Life by P.J. Hoover. Tut is, as you might guess, a story about King Tut, but I guess it's a twist where he didn't die, but he's in fact immortal and is living to this day. It kind of has a Percy Jackson vibe to it, I think, so I haven't finished Percy Jackson yet. I know, sacrilege, but I'll get there someday, but this looks just as interesting. And then Solstice is a sci-fi dystopian story. The temperature of the earth has gotten so hot that everyone has gone down underground to survive, at least those who did survive. And I guess it's about the main character Piper, who is just trying to discover a world beyond what she knows. Next book I got is Burnout by Christy Helvig. It's another sci-fi series. I'm loving all these sci-fi series with female main characters, not gonna lie. So I'm really going to get my sci-fi on once I get to all of these books. So this one kind of seems to have a similar premise to Solstice. The sun is burning out and it's threatening to destroy the earth, basically. So the main character is just trying to survive into being able to escape Earth and find a better home. So I'll be really interested to see how the two compare and how they line up. So there's that. The next book I got was Hit by Lori Ann Grover. I was talking to the author when I got this signed, and she said it's based on a true story, I guess, about a girl who was hit by a car, and just really a terrible accident. But this one kind of gives it a more fictional edge and puts a relationship between the girl and the person who hit her, so there's more drama and complications there. So that'll be an interesting read. The next book is one I was super excited about. When I heard the author was coming, I got in line for her book right away because it was one I really wanted to pick up. So getting it for free and signed was awesome. And that is 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. And so first, really beautiful cover. So many colors, love it. And so it's a sci-fi story about a girl named Marguerite who, kind of grew up in the science community, and she ends up using an invention of her mother's, which allows people to leap into alternate dimensions. So it's all about her traveling to the alternate dimensions, trying to catch her father's murderer who has run away. So really looking forward to everything about this book. The next book I got was Guy in Real Life by Steve Brezinoff, and this is a contemporary. It's about a guy and a girl who kind of run into each other, and they're from two kind of different worlds, as it were, and they never would have kind of gotten together if things had been normal, but they connect through online means, and it's just about how the relationship goes. I mean, at least that's what I gathered from the book, so I'll be interested to see that because I always like a good romance, and we'll see if it ends happily or maybe not so happily. I don't know. The next book I picked up was Under the Mesquite by Guadalupe Garcia McCall. I actually went to a panel with this author, and she was really, really great, just talking about getting more diversity out in young adult literature, and especially in fantasy and science fiction. This book isn't science fiction or fantasy, but her newest book is. I just wasn't quick enough to get the fantasy one, unfortunately, but I'm still looking forward to this one. It's a book in prose, I believe, and it's about a girl named Lupita who is the oldest of 8 siblings and is used to keeping her family together into one piece, but she discovers that one of her relatives has been diagnosed with cancer, and so it's all about her dealing with the possibilities of what that means. And so I'm really looking forward to that. The next book I got was Catch Me When I Fall by Vicki Lee, and it's part of book 1 of the Dreamcatcher series, I guess. It's kind of a thin book, so it should be a quick read, I think, though the pages are kind of filled up from top to bottom, so we'll see. So I don't know much about this, but it's kind of a paranormal by the guess, so I'll just kind of read part of the back. Recruited at his death to be a protector of the night, 17-year-old Daniel Graham has spent 2,000 years fighting nightmares and guarding humans from the creatures that feed on people's fears. Each night he risks his eternal life, but that doesn't stop a burnt-out Daniel from risking daring maneuvers during each battle. He's become one of the best and wants nothing more than to stop. So, by the looks of the cover, it looks like the fighter Daniel meets a girl, I'm guessing human, maybe part human, who knows, with these supernatural things, and falls in love. So always up for a good supernatural romance, and we'll see if this one lives up to it. The next one is Living with Jackie Chan by Jo Knowles. This is another contemporary read. I guess it's a companion to one of her other books. Don't know much about it, honestly, but I'm trying to read more contemporary books to begin with because it's not usually my first go-to genre, so we'll see how it goes. The next one I got was also an advanced reader copy, and that's Better Than Perfect by Melissa Cantor, and this is going to be out in February again, I believe. And so this is another contemporary. I'm not sure if it's a standalone or a sequel. I read one of her other books a long time ago, If I Have a Wicked Stepmother, Where's My Prince? I honestly don't remember much about the book other than it played off of Cinderella and those tropes. So I'll be interested to see how this goes and maybe even go back to her older work, which I read when I was younger. The next book is another one I was really excited about, and that is Talon by Julie Kagawa. I've only read one of Julie Kagawa's other books, which is the first one in the Iron Fae series, but I really like that one, and it's sitting on my wish list right now, so hopefully eventually I'll get the whole series to read. But this is her newest book, and it's dragon fantasy. It kind of brings back the Order of St. George, which were dragon slayers, and it's just talking about humans versus dragonkind, and so the main characters are brother and sister, Ember and Dante Hill, and they have been trained to infiltrate, and it's all about them finding a balance between maybe their normal life and the life of dragons. My next book is Love is the Drug by Aaliyah Dawn Johnson. So it takes place in the future where there's a deadly flu virus kind of wiping everyone out in the United States, and the main character, Emily Bird, who I guess goes by just Bird, wakes up one day with no memory of what has happened to her. So it sounds really intriguing, and I'm looking forward to it. Plus, again, pretty blue. I like blue. And my last two for the book haul, yes, we're down to the last two, drum roll, are Alpha Goddess and Oceanborn by Amelie Howard. This is another one of the authors that I got to see on panel, and she too was really amazing about all of the diverse fantasy that she wants to see and write, and so I'm really looking forward to looking into her stuff. Alpha Goddess is the retelling of the myth of Rama and Sita. I don't really know a lot about the myth, but I know kind of parts of it mostly from A Little Princess because it's mentioned in that. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I guess the main character is like a reincarnation of one of the characters, and so it's reliving the tale in modern day, and so I'll be really interested to see how that goes. And then Oceanborn is the sequel to one of her other series, the Aquarathi. I don't know much about the first one, but I'm really interested in buying it, so again I put that on my wish list. I have a lot of things on my wish list after this conference. But it's a fantasy, and I guess the main character, Nerissa, she was like raised human, but she's actually kind of a water creature. I'm not sure if it's mermaids or something different. And so it's just the sequel, and so hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on the first book soon and marathon both of those because it looks really interesting. So that was my book haul, and I'm really looking forward to reading all of these. I haven't been able to read a lot of the books that I own this month because I brought home a lot of books from the library, but I am finally whittling that list down and can get started on my owned book TBR list. Yeah, and so I will definitely keep you updated on if I read any of these and let you know how they go. And so if you are interested, please feel free to link or comment, and if you like my videos, please feel free to subscribe. If you know any of these books or are interested in them, please go ahead, leave a comment about it. I would be happy to talk to you about them because I'm always happy to talk about books. So I'll talk to y'all later. Bye!